Happy Sunday. I'm not wearing makeup today because I don't want to, and that is okay. But we've made it. We've made it to the end of Still Into You, and that is absolutely nuts. We are on chapter 9. There are 10 chapters, but I don't feel comfortable reading smut openly on camera. So for that reason, I will not be reading that. But if you would like to read the smut part, then you can go read it at your own discretion. I think it's great. I think, oh, when you look up Still Into You, my video pops up. Oh my god! Stop honking at my house. My video is the one that pops up. It's me. What? Anyway, but go read the smut at your own discretion. I think it's great. I loved it. I loved every single part of the story, and I think the smut personally made it better. But obviously, I know there are some people who don't like to read smut, so if you just want to stick with the fluff part, then you totally can. So we are on chapter 9, called All I Wanted. All right, you guys. Let's do this. This is the last Still Into You. Oh, it's so sad. I'm sorry I look a mess and I don't look better for our big finale, but you know what? I think I look pretty today, and that is what matters. You have to be confident. You have to tell yourself that you're beautiful, regardless if you're wearing makeup or if you're not, regardless of what you're wearing. You are f***ing amazing. Say it. You are f***ing amazing, and you are beautiful, and that's it. And that's on period. You heard me. Say it to yourself. Say it to yourself. Come on. There you go. Inacomadoria grumbled as she went to answer her door, wearing her coziest bathrobe and slippers. Who the heck knocks on a house door at 11 p.m.? She puts on her sternest mom face and swung open the door, ready to lay into whoever would be so inconsiderate. And then she gasped, "Izuku?" Without a question, Inako held back tears as she pulled her son into her arms. He towered above her now, but Izuku was still her baby. "I missed you so much," she whispered into his chest. She felt strong arms wrap around her back and pull her close. "I missed you too, Mom." Izuku resisted the urge to collapse into his mom's embrace. Something about a hug from his mom always made his world feel right. No matter what was bothering Izuku, she could make it better, at least for a short while. "Let me look at you, sweetheart." She pushed him at arm's length away and reached up to brush her fingers across his face. "You look so handsome, so grown. Too grown to come visit your mom, huh?" Izuku looked away bashfully. It'd been months since he had come to see his mother. "I'm sorry, Mom. You know how busy it gets. I'll try harder." She waved her hands in the air as if to tell him not to worry about it and smiled widely. "I'm so thrilled you're here, hun. But why did you show up on my doorstep in the middle of the night?" Inako raised an eyebrow quizzically. Izuku looked away from his mom's gaze. "It's Kachan." Inako heard the sorrow in her son's voice and inhaled sharply. "Oh no, honey. Is he okay? Do I need to call Mitsuki?" Possibilities raced through Inako's mind. She loved that boy like he was her own, despite the roughness around the edges. The idea of anything happening to him devastated her. No, nothing like that, Mom. It's just, well, it's complicated. Do you have time?" Relief washed over Inako's face and she nodded. "Of course, baby. I'll make some tea." She ushered her son to the kitchen table, and 45 minutes later, over 2 steaming cups, Izuku had completely brought her up to speed on everything that happened in the past month. Oh my. Inako covered her mouth with her hand and then squealed excitedly. "I've always had a feeling you two liked each other, even back when you were kids. It was always Kachan this and Kachan that. You were constantly talking about him." Izuku felt a crush creeping up his cheeks as Inako exclaimed, "I can't wait to tell Mitsuki." Izuku sighed exasperatedly, but was unable to hide a bemused expression at his mom's excitement. "Mom, you're missing the point here. I don't know where he is. I don't even know if he wants me to find him. I think it might be too late for us." Inako's face suddenly got very serious, and she reached across the table, pulling her son's hand into her own. "Izuku, there's no such thing as too late for true love. If it's meant to be, it will always be. Just like you are meant to be a hero, sweetheart." Oh. Inako paused, emotion in her voice as she continued softly. "Life is hard, and every story is full of twists and turns. There's nothing easy about love. But if you want something, I mean truly want it, I know nothing could ever stand in your way. I see that in you. All Might did too." She smiled gently at her son, her eyes filled with adoration. "And if somehow Katsuki doesn't want you, I'll always be here, ready to help you pick up the pieces." Now it's Izuku's turn to cry, as he stood and pulled his mom up from her chair into a tight bear hug. He didn't know what he had done to deserve such a loving, kind mother, but he knew he was so unbelievably lucky to have her. He cried wet, hot tears onto her shoulders. Izuku didn't know if they were from joy or sorrow, but they stood like that for a long time, holding each other in silence for a bit before Inako spoke up. "Well, mister, while you are grown and all," she said, her eyes narrowing, "my house, my rules. It's time for you to go to bed. You look exhausted." Let me scooch back. Izuku sniffled, wiping his eyes with his sleeve and smiling ruefully. Alright, I'm going. There was no use in arguing with his mom. He learned that lesson many years ago when she pulled him from UA. The green-haired man walked into his childhood bedroom, left untouched by his mom, and grinned widely at the decor. It was essentially an All Might shrine, but he appreciated that his mom was sentimental enough to keep it the same. He changed into his pajamas left in his closet and looked himself in the mirror on the wall, laughing loudly. His pants were more like capris, and his t-shirt rode up his hips, exposing a sliver of skin on his stomach. Izuku shrugged and climbed into bed, attempting to get some rest, but sleep never came. Midoriya's mind was wandering, his thoughts filled with Katsuki, imagining the blonde's pale skin, his crimson gaze, and crooked smile. The way he crinkled his nose when he laughed, the bulge that was evident under his boxers, how toned his body was beneath his suit. Izuku felt his already tight pants strain even further as blood rushed downwards. Midoriya stood from his bed and pulled on his sneakers and hoodie. He needed a walk to clear his head. He slipped out the front door and hummed to himself quietly. He knew exactly where he was going. Midoriya turned towards the clearing in the woods behind the house, the cool breeze rippling against his skin. The cicadas chirped as he wandered through the darkness, moonlight illuminating the path in front of him. Leaves crunched beneath him with every step, and the wind rustled through the trees. The closer Izuku got to his destination, the louder he heard the familiar babbling of the creek. He hadn't been to the brook behind his house in decades. The last time he was here, he and Katsuki were still best friends, and he was still quirkless. They had played and played for hours, not having any idea that weeks later something in their friendship would shift. Bakugo would suddenly be too cool for going into the woods, his demeanor towards Izuku becoming icy and callous, and they wouldn't ever see the forest together again. Or so Midoriya thought. The green-haired hero approached the stream, and he thought he was dreaming as eyes landed on an angel sitting on the boulder, skipping stones against the water. The luminescence clothed Katsuki in an unbelievable radiance. His skin practically glowed in the light, and his blonde hair looked nearly white. As Bakugo turned to face the crunching sound behind him, his eyes widened. Izuku took in what he saw before him in shock, crimson orbs boring into his own green irises. "Hi," Izuku whispered. He couldn't help the smile that spread across his face. Katsuki's hands sparked and crackled as he stared at Izuku, waiting for him to disappear. This had to be a figment of his imagination. He'd never seen a sight more beautiful. Even in his too small All Might pajamas, Izuku was gorgeous. His freckles glinted like diamonds in the brightness of the moon. He was beaming. Even his emerald eyes were smiling as he looked at Bakugo like he was the sun. Oh my god! "How did you find me?" Katsuki murmured. I didn't. Well, I did, but I didn't mean to. I came here and I didn't know you would be here. Are you here? Is this real? Izuku laughed breathlessly. I could ask you the same thing, Deku. Bakugo hadn't told anyone where he was going. Not even Kirishima. He'd taken off without a trace, showing up at his parents' house with all of his belongings in a tow, parking the moving van in the street while he figured out his next move. There was no way Izuku had found him, except he had. Hearing the blonde use his nickname cemented this movement into reality for Izuku. His mother's voice whispered in the back of his head, "If it's meant to be, it will always be." And that's on facts. Hold on, pause. That's on period. If something is meant to be, it's always going to be. So don't stress yourself out about relationships, because at the end of the day, if y'all are meant to be together, the universe finna get y'all together. They got your back. What I tell you, the universe got your back. And that's on period. Anyway. "What are you doing here, Izuku?" Katsuki's voice was soft, gentle, as if he were talking to something fragile and not Japan's #1 hero. As he registered the tenderness in Bakugo's voice, something clicked into place deep inside Midoriya's head. He needed to say it before he convinced himself otherwise. With a deep breath, he threw himself into the fire. "I love you." The words came out fast and jumbled, but Katsuki was sure he heard them right. I'm gonna cry. Izuku took a deep breath, his words shaking as they poured from his lips. "I got your letter, and I forgive you, Kachan, but now it's my turn. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for ignoring you for 5 years, and I'm sorry for lying to you about why. I'm sorry I punched you in the face. I'm sorry that I didn't realize how I felt about you until 20 years later." Katsuki's mouth opened to reply, but before he could, Midoriya continued. "I'm sorry that I wasted our time. I dream about how if I hadn't been an idiot and texted you back. I dream about us celebrating our 5-year anniversary in our apartment. I dream about a reality besides this one, where it's just us, together, and we didn't everything up. I'm so sorry, Kachan." Izuku's voice broke as he apologized, and his lips trembled as he spoke. I was so scared of what loving you meant, but I didn't realize what I was losing by pretending not to. I was terrified of what people would think about us together. I didn't want to lose my place as #1 hero by being with you. That's why I ignored you. But honestly, Kachan, I would throw it all away right now if that meant that you would give us a chance. I thought my dream was being #1, but now I'm there. I'm #1, and all I can dream about is you. God, this is beautiful. Katsuki decided he was definitely dreaming as he listened to Midoriya pour his heart out, essentially ripping open his own chest and exposing his soul for the forest to hear. He stood up from where he was sitting and walked over to the green-haired hero, reaching for the other man's shoulder. His hands made contact with Midoriya, and he felt his flesh. He felt Deku's heartbeat and his warmth, his sheer existence under his palms. Is this real? The blonde couldn't help himself as he reached a thumb inwards to brush against Midoriya's cheek. Katsuki was breathless. The air sucked out of him, but simultaneously, he'd never felt more alive. His hands crackled and sparked, the light from his palms illuminating Izuku's bright green irises, alighting his freckles like stars in the night sky. You're so, so beautiful. I'm waiting to wake up. Izuku's eyes shone, wet from tears, and he buried his face into Katsuki's neck, wrapping his arms around him and inhaling deeply. Like always, he breathed in burnt sugar and soap, and he felt the blonde's face rest against his hair, lips gently pressing against the top of his head. Deku felt Bakugo's hands grasping his shirt tightly, willing the green-haired man not to vanish. Like his grip was a prayer to the gods for this to be reality. They stood like that for a long time before Katsuki wrenched himself away and held Deku's face in his palms. Oh, I'm so sorry, that's been in front of my face. Do you want to do this? Us, I mean. Bakugo's voice was serious as Midoriya had ever heard it. Izuku smiled. I never wanted anything more. And he meant it. We did it! We did it! Oh my god. Stable Biscuit 20. Thank you for literally all the emotions that you Stable Biscuit 20. What an amazing writer. What an amazing story, bro. Still Into You by Stable Biscuit 20 on Archive of Our Own. Literally yes. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope you enjoyed this story. There will be more Bakudeku stories to come. Let me know what fanfiction you want Sundays to be. I can totally read like Bakudeku ones, I could read like other ship ones, I could read Voltron ones, y'all know I love Voltron. I could read mine, I could read Vanessa if she ever let and read hers because it's amazing. Let me know. I really hope you guys enjoyed the story. If you want to read the smut part of this story, go ahead and read chapter 10. It's on Archive of Our Own by Stable Biscuit 20. Chapter 10 is called Let the Flames Begin. It is all smut, so that's why I didn't read it. I don't want to, you know. Plus, it's a pretty conclusive ending here. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm so glad I got to read this with you guys, and I loved all the responses that I got from it. You guys were just so in love with the story as much as I am, and now you guys know why it's my favorite Bakudeku story that I've ever read. It's just absolutely freaking amazing. I'm so blessed that I got to read such an amazing story, and I just love it so much, and I will be rereading it again by myself in my bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Remember to stay safe, do your homework, and drink water. You are absolutely beautiful, absolutely wonderful, and you are worth it, and never ever give up. I love you. I love you, and you are here for a reason. And that's on what? That's on period. Bye, guys.